What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Mike Stramaglio of Stramaglio Consulting. How are you, Mike?
I am fantastic. I'm happy to be back home after 3,900 miles on the bike with you.
3,900 miles. It was a great ride. I got my shirt on, my Jillian shirt on that you are wearing as well. We just finished the Jillian ride, and I did not ride 3,900 miles. I only did about 1,500 miles, but it was great connecting with you about a little over halfway through. Um, we had an awesome time. We did some amazing things. Why don't you give us a rundown on some of the highlights for you? What were some of the things that you really enjoyed about this year's ride?
Well, I think, by the way, before I start, a little bit of a recap. Congratulations to Jake, and let him know that we are here to help him, and we're going to be making sure that we include him in the consortium and other things that we're involved with. And Jake, you got some big shoes there, and I'm sure you're going to do great. And if you need me, find me.
Yeah, all right. He's gonna come pop over here and say hello. It's our newest employee, our marketing coordinator, just announced yesterday. Say hello, Generation 3.
Hello.
So this is Lou's.
Slaw one, slaw two, slaw three.
It's Lou's grandson, right?
Hey,
So
Jake,
fresh out of college, fresh out of some time with Toshiba Business Solutions here in Rochester. He has joined us as of yesterday. So he's going to sit back and listen to an interview. We're going to talk about the Jillian ride. We're going to talk about the consortium and what we're doing in the business world now that we're back from our big motorcycle ride. But let's start off. Let's talk about the ride. What were some of the highlights? What did you love about it this year?
well, it's funny. It's a great question. I've thought about it over and over again, probably like you have. What happened this last 2 weeks, and I think I had some very modest, kind of expectations for what would happen because we're coming out of the pandemic, and obviously we had to skip a year, so we really didn't know what to expect. But I have to tell you, it was absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure you share my enthusiasm for every mile, every unexpected person and expected person that we met. But the three things that obviously jump out, besides a golden welcome from every dealer, Visual Edge really rolled out the carpet for us. But the three things that obviously really jumped out, one was the Paul Youngberg service with his family,
Yes.
where we went and honored Paul, our brother, one of our pack members. That was a beautiful, beautiful moment and well worth the experience to get on the bikes and go there. The second one, of course, is the Tuskegee Airmen. My dear friend Melody from Milner, who I've been associated with since they took on Forza and implemented it. Her granddaddy is a Tuskegee Airman. She told me about it a while ago, and we put that on our list. And again, we didn't really know what to expect, but we wanted to honor and celebrate a 99-year-old hero. And if you can imagine what he's gone through in 99 years, putting Kaiser, Virginia, basically on the map for the pack. When we got out there and the Patriot Guard met the Patriot Pack, and I'm guessing, Andy, you probably know better than I do, but there had to be close to 30 motorcycles that rode up and down and through the town, and people waving and all of that. And then we went to that town hall right there, and we had a chance to shake hands and say hello to Tuskegee Airmen. And I've never been so thrilled or honored or moved than having the opportunity to sit with all these folks and really celebrate a man's life who deserves it, richly deserves it. And then, of course, the last one, there are a few things about Richmond, Virginia, I think that were kind of astounding. One is that all the people that showed up, my God, you had Mike Brusick and John Sheehan and people from, Konica Minolta or DLL. You had all kinds of people that showed up. Ed McLaughlin, basically to honor Sam Stone and Dave. And yeah, Great America, always, always. By the way, Great America from left to right of the country, they didn't miss pretty much a mile. So kudos to them.
You know, I don't know.
But
Did they do much? I like the mugs actually. This was so I saw this in one of the pictures early on before I joined you guys, and all I kept thinking was, man, I hope they have one of those for me when we get there. And sure enough, every rider got a custom mug with their name on it, with Jillian Fun, with Great America's name under it. So I'm sorry I did miss all the people from Great America in there. I came right after they left, unfortunately, but I was there last time, and they are just a blast to hang with. So, but back to this night was an incredible night. So one of the things I thought was the coolest was we had, three of Richmond's, premier office equipment resellers. Cobb was there, Stones was there, we had Doddard there. So, we had all in one room, all, sitting with each other at one table many times, with some legends in that industry. But just how cool is it that something like this charity brings everyone together like this?
well, Andy, and again, you've been pretty much with us almost from day one. And when you reflect upon the 2 weeks, leaving Scottsdale and basically running across the country. I mean, all of the little and big things, like you mentioned, Raj with the Mars rover, and the gal gals, as we call them, the Great America ladies sitting in that RV for 2.5, 3 days. Bob Goldberg taking driving position of responsibility, and
Yeah.
Gary Rajelski from DLL. I mean, all those folks, basically, the support from the industry has been absolutely amazing. It's just unbelievable to me that a bucket list ride has turned into really what I would consider to be a fantastic marriage between the Jillian Fund and the riders and the pack. And then, like you said, when you fast forward and you get to Richmond, you get three of the finest dealers in the country in the same dinner, and they're all helping each other basically to support the Jillian Fund and the pack. And then, of course, Sam Stone. We honored again, one of the most emotional, I think, moments of the ride has been celebrating the life of Matthew Stone, and Bob Goldberg announcing, which to me is just cherry on top celebration. Very gracious and classy act that BTA, basically set up through Bob Goldberg the college fund in Matthew's name, and that will live on in perpetuity and will honor Matthew forever. So, from simple fun to meeting somebody in the setup bar that we had who bought $100 worth of tickets, to that kind of absolute magnificent celebration of life. Just unbelievable. And of course, yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't say every single pack rider, JB leading us through left to right, all the roads, all the back roads, making sure we hit all the ETAs and all. But every pack member and pack rider and supporter, just unbelievable, absolute fun, and have my honor, my respect, and what a tremendous honor to ride with them. And you too.
Well, thank you.
You've been a pack member, like I said, from almost the beginning, and you're a proud road warrior. And I love you for doing what you do, both professionally and as a rider. And Andy, I think you would agree with this final comment on the ride. I've never seen a camaraderie in all my life, whether it be at work or when I was in the Navy. There's a certain, band of brothers, but this is unbelievable. It's just absolutely incredible. My hat's off to all of them.
Yeah, it's we've got a good crew, we've got some good people, and every year it grows a little bit more, and we add a few more people. But this year was just seeing that RV covered with those logos, with all the companies that stepped up to help us out. Literally, just about every single one of the manufacturers, and the printer manufacturers, and so many of the subsidiaries, and other vendors, partner vendors, right? You guys, us, obviously, but other companies like Raj donating that RV that was covered in those logos. I mean, somebody paid for that. He paid for that, and he does that out of the kindness of his heart. And it's just kind of a neat thing to see again, everyone was at that table, just competitors coming together and just for a common cause, and putting aside maybe some some hard feelings, bad feelings, and saying, we're all going to sit down together, we're all going to eat together, we're all going to raise money together for something really worthwhile. And this has become the Jillian Fund, at least the last couple of years, has become, one of the, I would say, most highly visible charities in the industry. Everybody's behind it, and all the dealers are helping out where they can. So it's just been great. Tying into what we do though work-wise, it is we do visit dealers, and we have some new things that we're working on, right? Like I said in one of our previous emails, you retired from Konica Minolta, from All Covered, and then the next day started your consulting company. So I think the exact words were, "You suck at retiring," which you seem to really like.
Yeah.
But you suck at retiring. You start this consulting company, and then one of the first things you do is you start kind of cherry picking, hand picking companies to join in this new consortium that you've kind of pulled together. Which is why don't you describe to the viewers what is the consortium? Who are some of the companies that are in it? What kinds of companies are you looking to have join it? And what's the benefit to everybody of having this exist? What's this what's this group going to do for everybody?
Well, and I appreciate that, and I think I do suck at retirement. I have to admit, it's a big fail. But when you look at some of the things that have happened,
I'm glad you
do. Well, again, when you look at what's happened in the last 24 months or 18 months, I think there's been plenty of opportunity to learn, reflect, adjust, evolve, grow as humans and as an industry. And so obviously, I've been hired. I had originally planned on going to Italy for a while, and that really got kind of wiped off the books. And after 3 back surgeries, I'm not really into golf right now. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? Thankfully, I had a few people call me that were in the business and said, "Hey, I got a couple of projects for you." And one of those gentlemen happened to say to me, "You really should start a company." And so that's what happened. And it's kind of interesting to see how all of this has come together with the ride. And when you look at the Mars rover, Mars is a member of the consortium. BPO Media, Clover, Great America, all these folks quickly understood my mission was and is and remains to find a way to be able to not just pontificate, not just lecture people about A3, A4, oh my God, but be a positive influence in this industry. Be a vetting pool, be a think tank. When someone says you should consider, AI, or you should consider business intelligence or other software packages, well, there really is no singular place where you can go where you're not just going to get lectured to, you're going to find a partner. And that partner is going to help you if you should choose, to participate in a particular piece of the business. I don't care if it's VoIP or anything else. So the consortium basically, was put together with a thought process that says, number one, we're going to vet these companies. Number two, we're going to find pain thresholds that the industry needs to cure. And we're going to provide them with solutions, literally, whether it be actual resources or a product or just an opportunity to be pointed in the right direction and help the industry to the next level. Personally, I think the industry has come through an unimaginable time, but I also think that it is probably best positioned ever that to my eyes for what's going to happen in the next generation. I call it the Renaissance. Thankfully, the consortium, we thought we'd have 5, maybe 7, 8 people, companies. We're up to 15 now, and we're managing that probably to around 20. They're all tremendously successful companies, from hardware to software to education, like Kate Kingston, just an endless list of really, I think, power innovators that can deliver solutions for the community. So I'm excited about it. And for the first time officially, I'm going to say we're going to do the Executive Connection Summit again.
You stole my
it was
thunder.
such a huge success.
I was going to ask.
So the exclamation point on that is, we talked to all the consortium members and everybody wants us to redo it. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it in Q1 of 22 when everyone and everything is calmer and more effective. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about some other cool things that we'll be announcing, I think, over the course of the next 2-3 weeks. So I'll make sure I'll let you know quick. But we've got some pretty cool things and people who will be joining us. So I'll leave you with that thought.
Very cool. Well, super exciting. You're going to do ECS again, the Executive Connection Summit. I have to say, that was one of my favorite events. It was, it wasn't flashy. It was just a good group of people under one roof with great speakers and amazing panels and good topics. Super high level. You had the highest level people from most of the companies that we follow, that I follow, right? So you had senior executives from Xerox, Konica Minolta, Sharp, Samsung, who was back in those days. And it was just, all the issues were out there and they were all on the table and they were all discussed. And it was, there were a few dealers and a handful of some of the more, I would say, significant dealers were at that event. I remember the Doyles were there at one of them, and if I remember correctly. And, you just had a lot of positive energy and really just movers and shakers in that event. So it was exciting. It was every year for a while. And it kind of, obviously things evolve and went away, but to bring that back, I'm very excited that you're doing that again. And I can only imagine where it'll be. It's got to be the Valley Ho.
It's going to be the Valley Ho. Absolutely. We're going to keep the tradition alive. And think about it. What a great, you talk about a great coming out party for Jake. I know there'll be other events, but that's a big one.
He will be at a lot of the events. So he'll be there handing out the hats and taking pictures just like his old man. So very exciting for ECS. Last, let's talk about, and we can kind of circle back to the beginning of this where, we did the ride and obviously the ride is for Jillian, and we had some other things that we needed to do on this ride. But every year, one of the big parts of this ride that we didn't do this year, it ends at Rolling Thunder, which honors veterans missing in action, killed in action. And so we didn't have an opportunity to do that specifically this year, but it is part of what we do. You carry the vest, and you've brought that vest from an employee down at a Datamax in Arkansas up to the wall one of the years that we went, and got some great photos of us doing that to send back to her. But that's not all that we do in this industry for vets, right? So the last thing I wanted to kind of bring up and talk about was something that it has been brought up, it has been discussed, but it's something that I think can never be chatted about enough. So why don't you talk about the program, the vet program that you have helped BTA with, and some of the others that are working on it. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Andy. Jeremiah Shepard over from Dove Printing, apparently he had contacted Bob Goldberg and a few people about, trying to organize an official recruiting transitional kind of program for military veterans that are transitioning out of the military into the private sector. Jeremiah he's got all the enthusiasm in the world. He's a very bright, very engaging guy. So basically Goldberg, the judge,
from our gang.
Yeah, the judge. So he contacted me and Frank Canada, and we got on the phone and we collected some additional dealers who were veterans, and we brainstormed for a bit. And out of that came an official program called VETech. And you go to the BTA website and you'll see there's a tab.
BTA.org. BTA.org.
Thank you.
Yep.
So BTA.org, and then you'll see that tab and you can click on it. It's quickly becoming something again that's of real value, and I encourage every dealer, either visit it, submit resumes, or look for resumes. Encourage people to participate. It's a phenomenal program for people who are in need of transitioning. Some of the veterans obviously don't necessarily know where to go, how to do it, even how to write a resume. So there's a lot of mentoring that's going on in the group as well. but I'm really proud of that. It's one of those little ideas that's become a very big part of BTA's, I think, gracious way of helping dealers in the industry. And obviously, the veterans are near and dear to all of our hearts. So go look it up. Please support it. It's free. You don't even have to be a BTA dealer. There's no cost to you. All you have to do is just be a participant and help some fellow Americans as they move from military to private sector.
And nothing.
And I would probably add too, if I could.
You look at one of the biggest issues these guys have are resellers, our dealers, our copier dealers, right? And it's hiring, it's finding people. What better place to look for a salesperson, or even better, a technician, which, every one of you guys, your tech fleets are all aging out, right? You're looking at this force, they're probably all in their 60s, or the majority of them are, and you need people who are good technically, who are well trained, who can take orders, who can follow direction. And what a great place to start with ex-military, who these guys and gals coming out who made a living taking orders and learning how to do new things, and working on things that are probably a lot more complex than a copier or a printer, I would imagine. So yeah, I'm going to put a link in the bottom of this where you can get to that BTA spot. But I thought, what a good way to end this chat today. It was great seeing you on the ride, and I miss all the events. So I'm glad. I feel like we're starting to get back there. I think this was the third time I'd seen you this year. So we're getting there.
Yeah, and Andy, look, I appreciate you doing this interview with me. I think I would, again, probably close my thoughts out, besides the VETech thing, which is enormously helpful. One takeaway for me as we rode across the country is the spirit of America. It's alive, it's well, it's real. And all the people who followed us on LinkedIn, and all the posts, and all of the sponsors, that was an exhausting couple of weeks for some young guy my age. Must have been really hard on you, Andy. It was a hell of a couple of weeks, and it restored my faith, in looking forward to a very optimistic world. We're a great people, a great culture. We have wonderful things to be proud of, and we should never lose sight of that. And I'm just deeply honored and grateful that people followed all of us. And I'm very deeply grateful that people like you, Andy, and others let me be the spokesperson for the pack. You're all major contributors in your own way. We all do what we do. And I guess as the elder statesman, you guys give me that little bit of a extra tip of the hat. So I'm grateful. But let's keep it going now, buddy. Let's keep that enthusiasm going, right?
Yeah.
Do good things, and good things happen.
Yeah, I agree. You could feel the positivity. There is a lot of good out there still. I know, maybe over the last couple of years, we kind of got distracted. But at the end of the day, people are mostly just incredible and willing to help, and just, willing to get behind a cause. And people are great. Not the drivers in Memphis. The drivers in Memphis suck. They are angry people. Every year when we come through there to visit those dealers, we almost all get run off the road. It's only Memphis. I don't know why. I'm sorry I had to diss Memphis so bad, but I don't know what it is. But they're the angriest drivers anyway. Agree? You got to agree with me. So other than the Memphis drivers,
I have to agree.
It was great. People were giving.
Well, I don't know what it is about.
People were given money, just hearing about the cause. They would give their last $5 in one of those stories, and we could tell these stories over and over again that we lived through, and just people coming up with just willing to help donate. They didn't, they'd hear the story and they just wanted to do something to help our cause, and it was just heartwarming. And I joke about the Memphis people, but only a little bit because you were there. In any case, yeah, great seeing you. Yeah. Great seeing you. Hugs to everybody back in Arizona, and you and yours, and I look forward to seeing you soon. And we'll catch up. In the real near future.
You got it.
All right.
We're with you, buddy.
Take care.
Thanks, brother.
Love you, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.